bit about habits. And I've been thinking about this a lot, but I want to maybe veer from what I initially thought would be perhaps the agenda that I wrote out in the beginning and kind of go with what the group needs. So it's very clear to me, the following is very, very clear to me. You know what you're doing. You just got to do the thing, right? So we've kind of reached this point. Hold on, a couple more people are jumping on. We've reached a point where we know how to do the thing. It comes down to doing the thing. And there are some shortcuts that we can take or things that we can still work on, but this is a continued practice. This is no different than working out if you want to keep racing. So we're going to work a little bit on that. Okay. Okay, so let me just share my screen and we will get going. Okay, so if you are on here, will you pop into the comments if you have read Atomic Habits? If you have read Atomic Habits, please just let me know. And then I would love to hear some input from you. If you have not read Atomic Habits, it doesn't necessarily pertain to nutrition, but we're going to apply some of these habits to this, okay? So you can go ahead and order this book if you would like, but I'm going to use this as a framework for how we're going to work through these next couple of sessions. Okay, so just to reiterate, we know what to do. You have your macros. You know how to weigh your food. You know how to log your food. You know how to plan your meals, right? You know how to eat the food that you planned and worked. But the question is, are you doing it? Are you weighing every day? And if you're not doing those things, we see that there's a correlation between not doing those things and not achieving the goals we want to do, okay, or complete. So I just want to we're gonna take apart kind of one of those habits tonight, and we'll move through them. Maybe not all of them, but we'll get through them. Okay, so we know what to do, right? All of us know what to do. Now it's just a question of doing it. For the last few sessions, we're gonna focus on forming strong habits to create a pathway to success. So James Clear is the author of that book. I really love this quote. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Okay, so all of us have goals, whether those goals are body composition goals, those goals are race time goals, those goals are anything in your job, whatever they are. If you were tasked with something, right, and you said you need to achieve X by Y amount of time, that's great, but you need to then put a system in place to get to that goal line, which is why actually there's system in the title of Evolve, right? It's not just like, here are a bunch of random workouts, go ahead and do them. We have a strong system that we believe in, and the systems are a framework by which we step across, we step up the ladder. So this is very simple in some ways for us to conceive as athletes because we're good at doing this in other aspects of our lives. So what we want to do tonight is work actually on the system, the start of this concept of systems, okay? So essentially there are 7 atomic habits, right? So, and there's tactics to achieve those goals. So you want to start small to make your habit easy. You want to build a habit stack to make it obvious. So starting small to make your habit easy. If I said you got to run a marathon, you don't just go out and run 20 miles. It's not going to be successful. Whether you're coached or not, which all of us are, but whether, if you went out and bought a marathon plan tonight, it wouldn't start with a 20-mile run. It might start with 5 miles, and then there's just a matter of time to get you there. Habit stacking is a concept where you already have the habit that you work out. Right? So I'll talk about how I habit stack actually on Sundays. On Sundays, I have double workouts, and one of them is always a swim. Well, it might be nice to take hours in between the swim. if I literally do not finish my first workout and get my ass right to the pool, I am not going to do that swim. It's just the nature of who I am and being a mom, and the importance of Sunday afternoons for me and my family. So I stack those habits together. My Sunday workout is always a recovery workout. I'm not going to lose too much there. There's evidence that, like, if you wanted to do a push-up routine, you should correlate that push-up routine with brushing your teeth. We're already doing the habit, hopefully all of us, at night of brushing our teeth. And so you're going to stack the habit of doing 10 push-ups right before you brush your teeth. Okay? You want to make your habit attractive and satisfying, right? So you know, it needs to be something that you want to do and that it's satisfying. And the way that we know that it's satisfying in this case is that we weigh ourselves in the morning, and we know this. Habit success should be easy. Make habit failure harder, right? So we have to create a system. Like, it's not easy to eat vegetables if there are no vegetables in the house. It is very easy to eat takeout, right? Because that's the easy thing. So we need to make the things that we want to achieve easier and the things that we want to, you know, make more difficult harder. You got to track your habit. We're doing that. We're logging. We're doing all of those things. And then you need to find your habit people. And so we are those people, right? Even long after this thing is done, for, you know, while we take a break for a couple months, we are those people, okay? So I really like this concept, right? So the importance of systems. I'm a big time system person. Goals are important. We all need to have goals, but goals are not achieved unless you have a system. So the idea that winners and losers both have the same goal, right? But they need the winner has a system to get you there. So you have the workouts you're going to do, you have whatever it is that you're going to put in place. Okay. And then this is a quote again from Atomic Habits. You do not rise to the level of goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Okay. So shitty systems, shitty outcomes. Okay, so how are we going to create systems? We're going to make it obvious, we're going to make it attractive, we're going to make it easy, and we're going to make it satisfying. So just take a second and think about the systems that you have in place. So I am incredibly successful throughout my day until about 3 p.m. And then at 3 p.m., my system gets broken by a child who returns home and wants popcorn after school and wants my attention and has things to do. And it can be very easy then between 3 and 5 to get incredibly hungry and then make mistakes. So, or if you want to call it that. So what are some of the things that you have in a system in place? If you want to just type those in the chat box, please. Okay, so yep, lay out food with a timetable to eat it, bags of veggies, protein shakes, things that are easy to go to, pre-tracking, pre-making dinner, easy protein sources. So those are some of the things that we use. Break foods into baggies for easy, yep. So what we need to do essentially is when we create this system, what we want to look for is weak points in our system. So what are your weak points? So take a moment, type it into your phone, write it down on a piece of paper, whatever you need to do. Like, identify what are your weak points. My weak points are not breakfast. My weak points are not lunch. My weak points are not snacks before 3 o'clock, but my weak points are anything that happens between, 5 and 7 p.m. So write down what some of those weak points are. You can share them with the group or not. Waiting too long to eat between meals. Work issues that interrupt what I had planned. Eating when I'm tired. Bringing a lunch to work, right? Okay, so Mine are midday when I'm focused on work, right? And you're stressed out, okay, at work. So I think what's important here is that we identify all these things to start, okay? So now we need to come up with things that we can kind of put in place to create, to solve those problems. Weekends when I don't pre-log and I'm going to lots of kids' sports during my day. Also, Jen, to add to that, weekends are hard too because if you don't have something easy to eat and you are like, I just rode my bike for 3 hours, like I can kind of eat whatever I want. Well, you can't because you also actually worked out and ate your fuel. So these are our things that we need to start to build systems around. Okay, we got to make it easy and we got to make it attractive. And unfortunately, attractive when it comes to eating usually means like throw on some ranch dressing. But in our case, we have to figure out other ways. All right. So the first atomic habit is to start small to make your habits possible. And so there's a great concept. And actually, during COVID, like at the very beginning, we did a bunch of different we would do a weekly, I guess it was on Marco Polo, but we talked about a lot of different kind of ways to form patterns of success. And we did talk about the 2-minute rule when it came to organization. Okay. So in that case, we were talking about how there are tasks that you should complete within 2 minutes, right? So like when you wake up in the morning, whatever you can complete in 2 minutes, you knock all those tasks off your to-do list. So it's the same kind of idea here. So if our end goal is to, let's say, create breakfasts, right? Or create meals for the entire day. This is sort of how I was thinking about this. So if I need to create an entire week's plan of meals and I need to have them all pre-logged, that's really overwhelming. So the temptation can be what? Like, I'm going to get my breakfast in, right? So I see this in your Training Peaks. I see that if you're not pre-logging, I'm going to see like 460 calories, or sometimes I'll see 700 calories, and I know that that's a snack and a breakfast. But we have to work through everything, okay? So in that 2-minute rule, rather than what I want to do we're going to put 2 minutes on the clock. We're going to kind of step ourselves through this process as we go over these Zooms over the next couple of weeks. I want you to write down 3 breakfast choices, right? I don't need a recipe. I just want like 3 kind of things that you want to eat, and you can write them on a sheet of paper. You can put them wherever. You can put them in the chat. But just 3 kind of things that you find appealing, right? Attractive, and that are easy to make and that we can have for breakfast that we want to share out. Okay? So apply the 2-minute rule. What is for breakfast? Let's just do that quickly right now, please. Okay, so in under 2 minutes, everybody like spouted out a bunch of things. So now we have what's for breakfast. That's the easy part, right? But now we got to get to the end of this, right? So we need to, the next step, right? And we don't need to do this together, but is to calculate macros for those 3 meals. So when you get off this Zoom tonight, I want you to go into, and this is the thing, you can go into MyFitnessPal, and you can, build a meal. Does everybody know how to do that in MyFitnessPal? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, so if you go into MyFitnessPal, I got to do this like as I step you guys through it. Okay, so some of you wrote down 1 breakfast, right? And eat the same thing every single day of your life. I kind of actually fall into that. I was pretending I ate other things, but I'm totally lying to you just to make it sound like I do. But if you do that, then you go into MyFitnessPal, and I swear every app is blue when you need a blue app. So you go in there, you go to your diary, and you can go to my meals, okay? And so it will say create a meal. All right. And your meal, you can make it public or not. So let's just call it overnight oats, for example. All right. And then you are going to scan through, right? You can just use your barcode. You're going to do that. So in Josh's case, his breakfast is like 5 different things, right? So he eats Siggy's with raspberries, honey, stinger waffle, Ezekiel muffin, and honey. Okay. This kid can eat a lot under his guidelines. So make that a meal. And then it literally copies every single freaking day of the week. You can copy it over. So what I want to do is, if you have 2 things that you wrote down or 1 thing, I want you to take the time tonight, right? And make your macros, make those breakfasts happen and make them a meal. And then you're going to essentially log those, right? Providing you have the ingredients to actually eat those things. And you'll have your breakfast logged from, Tuesday all the way through however long you want to log it for, right? If you're constantly eating the same thing and you know that you're going to eat the same thing, get that done. That's the first habit we're going to build this week. What probably most of you are doing is going onto MyFitnessPal and redoing the same damn meal every single day, right? We don't need to do that. So breakfast is one of those things where we tend to kind of eat the same thing. So is everybody clear on how to create a meal and log it?
No. No.
Okay, Josh, where are you at? Where are you at, kid?
So I didn't see the diary, but I went to My Meals Recipes. It says create a meal or a recipe. So I'm going to create a meal.
Okay, so you're in My Meal, and then it says create a meal. Yep. Name your meal.
Right.
Let's call it oats, right?
Sure.
I'm just pretending.
Yep.
And then you basically go add items to this meal, scan barcode, and then you wander around your house scanning whatever the hell you're putting in there. And then, or you can manually enter a barcode, which seems like that's like the stupidest idea ever. And you'll actually see in your little history, which you can't see when I do that, but you'll be able to see so for you, Josh, you're going to have all those things in MyFitnessPal anyway. So I eat the same thing every single day, right? So I add those 3 items, and then I created a meal, and I call it oatmeal breakfast or egg breakfast. And then you can log that all the way through the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever it is. Okay?
Yep. Once you put the name in, it allowed me to start choosing.
Exactly. Yep. Okay?
Thank you.
So this thing today, right? But I think we can start just here. That's enough to get us kind of going. And then the next assignment, right, is put in your snacks, because I can almost guarantee you're going to eat the same snacks, right? Not everybody, we're not like doing something crazy. Where it gets a little bit dicey might be dinners when you eat out. But other than that, pick 3 lunches and do the same thing. Are there people on this Zoom, will you answer in the chat box, that are eating like a different thing for lunch every single day? So there's usually 2 patterns when it comes to nutrition, okay, for people who are like us. So you are either eating maybe a salad with a little bit of variety, right? So you'll create 3 different salads. Or what you're doing is your dinner on Monday becomes your lunch on Tuesday. So if you create a meal for that dinner, you can easily log it. Okay, so Kathleen is eating something different every day. So Kathleen, why don't you tell us this? So Kathleen's actually like a maven at this, to quote a nice little Yiddish term. So Kathleen, tell us your system that you have in place, okay?
As far as what?
Like how do you do this? Because you're great at it. So just tell us, like, what is life with Kathleen looking like when she's a meal planner?
So I do I do Purple Carrot. I choose my meals, and so whatever I make tomorrow night for dinner is going to become lunch on Tuesday and Wednesday. Whatever I cook Wednesday will become dinner like Thursday and lunch on Friday. So once I sort of log lunches and dinners sort of throughout the week, I can go back and log like workout nutrition, and then I sort of build protein and around where I need to put it, and then breakfast sort of becomes whatever macros I need to sort of finish off for the day is sort of the rest of my breakfast.
is very obvious to me that Kathleen has a pretty damn good system. Yes? Right? There's no winging it in Kathleen world. I know her personally. I do not coach her, but I know how she operates. And she's successful. I want to say you've lost like 20 pounds since the new year. Yeah? Okay. Since December? November? When did, like, we started before we started.
Oh.
Right? Okay, you've lost 10?
Okay,
Since
I've
we
lost
started?
like 8 or 9 since we started.
Okay. So we'll use a little bit of a Irish hyperbole and call it 10. Okay. So we're close enough, right? So it's still impressive, but also aside everything else, she's got some great systems there. All right. So she uses Purple Carrot. She has a system for how our lunches and dinners work, and then she goes back in and fills in. I can almost guarantee that if I go into Kathleen's Training Peaks, I can see that meals are already logged for days in advance. So it's like you got to put in the pain now rather than dealing with it later, and you cannot wing this thing. This becomes tricky. There's a couple people on here when you have children involved, and they're not going to want to eat exactly what you want to eat. So the system that I have in place for that is that you are going to make variations on a theme, right? So Jen, would you be so kind as to talk to us about what your systems are with your 2 boys and your husband?
Sorry, I'm literally doing meal prep as we're talking, so I had to stop.
I just asked you,
Click
like,
off
what
my-
are the
So-
what are the systems you have in place? Yep.
So I've had a system for a long time where I do most of my cooking for the week, meaning like cooking our dinners for the week on Sundays. So sometimes I will eat the same thing as them, and sometimes I will make something different for me. It just kind of depends, but that's usually like the way our meals work for dinners. But for lunches, for a couple of years now, I've been using Fit Flavors, and I've been able to continue using them for my lunches on this plan, just being mindful of the macros of certain meals. So I use those for lunches every day. My husband and I both use them, and it makes things much simpler. And this is for like people in the St. Louis area too. You can also choose at Fit Flavors. If you're not vegan or vegetarian, they also have pure protein options. So a lot of times I'll add on a pure protein. So I'll get a package of 4 already cooked and ready to eat chicken breasts, or 4 already ready to eat turkey burgers. But I do a lot of protein, cooking all the proteins, cooking all the veggies, and just kind of put them together, as I go through my week.
Okay, if you are not a St. Louis athlete, there is a company called Trifecta that you could use, and they have vegan. They kind of do the same thing. They come frozen. They come out of California. They're not incredible, but they are also an option for you for sure. And like Kathleen kind of does something similar. Those are fresh though. Those are made. Or you can just do the thing. Like, I'm sure, right, that Jen could easily make those Fit Flavor meals, but Jen is a mother of 2 very active boys, and so it just makes that process easier. Okay, are there any questions on like the systems that we need to start to work with? So if all you do this week is get the breakfast that you eat predominantly and the snacks that you eat predominantly built into meals and into MyFitnessPal, then I would say you have successfully created a good, strong habit. All right? We will talk more next week. Is there anything else that you guys need from me tonight? No? Okay. So it's really, again, I need to remind you that if you are not weighing in, if you're not logging, it's got to start. Like, sit down and do it again. It's got to restart, I should say. Okay? There is something in, let's see. MyFitnessPal into grams. Like, what do you mean by that, Mitch? Unmute yourself and explain.
Hello? Yeah, you hear me? I used to use Chronometer, and in Chronometer everything is like grams, or you don't have to like search for it. I have trouble finding like certain foods and tracking them like when I measure, because I'm used to measuring with grams. It's a little bit more more accurate for me.
Okay, so tell me the foods that you're struggling with to find.
It's like a lot of the stuff that I have. Like if I scan it, like Oatly oat milk, I put in my coffee, and like a lot of times I can't. When I scan it, it doesn't pop up as grams. It's only ounces. What else? Certain like produce that I have in my apartment.
Okay, so you can't. So MyFitnessPal is crowdsourced. Okay,
Yeah.
so Americans are going to put it into non-metric. I don't even know what the fuck it's called. So, like, what you want to do is just create those things for yourself rather than searching it. So, if you can use you can literally go online and just Google like carrots, right? If it doesn't have a label, and then build those things. Imperial, yes, thank you. So professional, John.
I failed math, so.
I just imperial system makes no sense. So it's actually pretty. I want to say like 28 grams. Like all your food should be in grams and in ounces.
Yeah,
No?
that's what I figured. But whenever
So,
I
wait, hold on 1 second. Just hold on.
yeah,
If you look under serving size, there's usually a grams option.
Yeah, always. Yeah, exactly. Right? So 2 tablespoons is 13 grams. There's always a grams option.
no, see, certain foods it doesn't have it.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
So text me those foods and I'll figure it out for you.
I mean, I could probably Google it. It's just me trying to make it easier on myself.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
And
We'll
also,
figure it out.
real quick, Fire Road Food.
Yeah.
Should I just quick at it? Because that's what I've been doing.
So you can quick add it, but then you're constantly quick adding. Why don't
That's
you
what I've
create
been
those
doing.
into meals? Yeah, that's just a waste of your time. Look, if you didn't do that, you'd have some time to calculate ounces to grams.
I know.
Okay, so get with it.
All right.
All right? All right. So, okay, hold on. This is a teachable moment, right? So you are wasting your time because it's easier kind of up front to do that, right? The thing you want to do is the easier thing to do. The thing you don't want to do, right? You don't bother doing. So do the fucking hard thing, yeah?
Yeah. Deal.
And in the end, everything else will be easier.
Okay.
All right. So what you need to do tonight is you get that sheet from Fire Road Foods with what you've gotten. Go onto their website, write it all out, create those things.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, I think we'll leave it on that. Is everybody good for the evening? Okay, awesome. I will see you guys on Team Zoom, all Team Zoom tomorrow night. All right. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Bye-bye.